Welcome. My name is Alice, and I will be talking about my journey through college and the honors program here at Missouri Southern State University. I have been very fortunate to be part of this group, which consistently pushed me outside of my science-based comfort zone, leading to my academic and personal growth. My journey through honors started with the signing ceremony as pictured here and the Honors Survival Seminar, which was right before school started. At both events, I met all of my new classmates and other members of the MSSU community. This is when I began to realize that the transition from high school to college could be very overwhelming and that I would be consistently pushed outside of my comfort zone. In these specific situations, it was by meeting all of these new people when I knew none of them and I'd always grown up knowing everyone in my community. My favorite example of being pushed outside of my comfort zone was at the survival seminar. We were playing games to bond with our classmates. We were playing a sheet folding game. So you had a sheet, you had to fold it in half, and everyone on the team had to get on the new half. And you continue to fold it until not everyone could fit anymore. So during this game, Austin, which is one of my classmates who I'd never met before, suddenly picked me up so we could win the game. While I was extremely uncomfortable at first because I didn't know him and he just randomly picked me up, Austin helped me realize that I would really enjoy this transition and all that the honors program had to offer. During my first semester at MSSU, I took Honors Forum. We read and analyzed multiple short works during this class, including Prisoners of the Wired World. After reading each work, we would independently analyze the work, deciding common themes and how it related to society today. Then, our whole class would meet and we would use Socratic-style seminars to discuss the themes and then relate them to society today. So for Prisoners of the Wired World, we decided that society is very dependent on technology and that this dependence actually causes disadvantages, such as people being less involved in their environment. So this is true in my own personal life as I use my phone and computer very often. I use Google Maps on my phone anytime I drive anywhere. I talk to my family on my phone all the time, and Google is my main source of answering questions, which is also online. I found that I did have this dependence on technology through analyzing Prisoners of the Wired World, and I have made some changes such as learning road names to try and improve my independence from technology. Another aspect about Honors Forum was Rachel's tips and tricks. So Rachel was my professor, and she would often discuss time management tips, as well as she would often ask students if we had any problems, and she would help us discuss them and then find solutions to our issues. So having this class during my first semester was a great intro to college, and it helped me be more successful in improving my personal self and learning how to be a good student. My service project for service learning was 2 days at Spring River Christian Village. Both of these days we played bingo, and on one of the days we did face mask afterwards, as shown in these pictures. I had some setbacks throughout the semester, including weather canceling my first date, but by the end of the semester I learned how to use business-type emails, plan an entire event, and reach out to volunteers. My 2 days at the facility opened a link between my college-age volunteers and then the older adult residents at the care facility. And my hope with this project was to improve the lives, give some enjoyment to these residents, as well as help these students realize how beneficial and good feeling it can be to help those older residents. So my hope was that they would continue to reach out and volunteer at care facilities and improve the quality of life for many of the older adults. And personally, this service project showed me how easy it really is to go out and help care facilities. So while I had to have volunteers as part of my requirement for my project, I saw how I could easily volunteer as an individual in the future. During my second semester, I took the Great American Playwright, and I absolutely loved this class. I had always enjoyed reading, but I had never gotten into plays before. This class taught me how to read and interpret plays, and then at the end of the year, we were each assigned a playwright. So my individual playwright was August Wilson, and of his works, I read Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Fences. Both of these works showed me the impact of racism, and I found them very easy to compare to today's society, even though they were published in 1984 and 1985. This recap project at the end was super helpful because it showed how much I had truly learned and that I was able to independently analyze plays by the end of the semester. Another impactful play on me throughout the semester was the Brighton Beach Memoirs. Eugene, which was one of the main characters, was very similar to myself. So at the beginning, when we were younger, we both felt and acted like the world revolved around us. That as we got older, you see that Eugene grows up and he realizes that his family needs his help, and so he begins helping his family by doing things such as chores. So reading about Eugene's growth helped me realize that I personally had grown from when I was younger, and then also just through my beginning years of college. And it highlighted areas that I still needed to improve on, such as like doing things without being asked, learning to make meals for my family, and then always being more willing to help my less able family members. In the spring of 20, I took China, a Rising Global Power, and this class was a huge learning curve for me. I knew very little about China, government, or international relations before this class. So at the very beginning, we started off with Chinese history, such as like the rise of communism and commonly known protest at Tiananmen Square. Next, we moved into the role of government in international politics. So we discussed some theories here, one of which was the world hegemon theory. So this states that the world is stable when there is one dominant power, and it is unstable when there are multiple conflicting ones, so such as in this case it would be the US and China. And then another important theory we discussed is Thucydides' trap. So this one states that war is inevitable when a rising power, so in this case China, challenges the current power, which is once against the US. So both of these theories are used in government to try and decide how the US should respond to China growing in power. And then finally, throughout the semester, we completed 2 simulations. So during these, we pretended to be US officials, and we would be presented with an international conflict. We would have to go through and discuss how we should interact with our public, our media, and then also the leaders of other countries. And so these simulations were super great for just putting in everything we learned for country relations and then how politics worked, and then also just recapping like how hard government officials' jobs actually are. So throughout this semester, I opened up to the world of government and learned a little bit about it, and then just truly how complex government and international relations really is. During the same semester, I took my study abroad class, which was canceled due to COVID. I learned about African culture and the ecosystems of the Kalahari Desert and the Okavango Delta before we left. And I discussed more about my study abroad class in my other PowerPoint. But outside of that information, this class helped me realize how my patients may feel when they're sick and I am their nurse in the future. So just like they don't know common medical terminology, I in this class didn't know the biology terms. So I realized how intimidating it can be to be the only one in the room that doesn't understand the terminology and to be the one that has to ask that question so you really understand what's happening. And then I also realized how difficult comprehension can be when you really just don't understand 1 or 2 of the key words. So being in this position really taught me compassion for how my patients might feel, and it emphasized the correct use of the lower level terms that my patients can understand. So overall, this class not only helped me learn about African culture, which I may experience in the future, a little bit about biology and ecosystems, but mostly it gave me that personal experience of compassion that I can use forever in my profession. My research was on the locus of control and menstrual dysfunction symptoms on hormonal contraceptive usage in Division II athletes. So for this project, I formed a survey that I could give if I were to complete my research, but instead I'm doing the portfolio method. But this class was very helpful for my future as nursing and for my future coursework. So I learned how to go through research articles, identify the key points, and then use those points to make my own thought and then back my hypotheses. So in my future as a nurse, I will have to keep up with current research to ensure that I'm using evidence-based practice. And then also I will be taking a research course next semester for nursing. And so this class really helped prepare me. It helped taught me common research theories and the steps of a research project. And I feel that I'm very prepared to do research and be a part of it in the future. Outside of my honors coursework, I completed honors points. These points were very helpful in getting me more involved on campus, as well as to increase my academic knowledge. So every fall there is a theme. So my favorite theme was the Caribbean semester because some of the movies were in Spanish. So before this semester, I had watched some lower level Spanish movies for my Spanish minor, but this was the first time that I had tried watching a higher level of Spanish movies. and I was pleasantly surprised at my level of comprehension. So this can be very helpful in my future, as we often get Spanish-speaking patients who are capable of understanding English, but they can't necessarily speak it back. So this means that I would be able to listen to them speak in Spanish and then answer them in English, and that we would be able to communicate that way. This has proven to already be helpful with one patient I had just this semester, and it really boosted my confidence, and I'm hoping that I'm able to communicate with other patients in the future when we aren't able to get an interpreter. Reflecting on my time through the honors program, it truly has helped me in too many ways to list all of them, but we're going to list a few. So the most obvious was through the academic growth of subjects such as theater, research, global politics, and history. On a personal note, the program helped me become more confident and an outgoing person, as well as helped me find new hobbies I enjoy, such as watching theater with my family members. My communication skills increased through professional contact for my service project, Socratic discussions, and written analysis of different works through my classwork. And at the end of the day, the honors program truly has helped me grow as a student and person and helped me prepare for my future as a nurse. So looking back on my time here, I will forever be grateful for the opportunity to be a member of the honors program, and I've really appreciated all the support it has given me throughout my school and all the opportunities it has given me to learn more and continue to grow as well.